All right, we are here with Tony Logue. His album is called Jericho. It is the first album I listened to, or at least of new music, that I listened to in 2022, and my goodness, was it a great start to the year. Top quality songwriting. The song you just heard was Callaway County. Tony, how are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm fantastic. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
All right. So Callaway County, maybe a song about a rocky relationship, to say the least, with a father. You also had Colorblind on the album, which again talked about a strained parental relationship. How have you established yourself as a different person from your parents, even if hopefully it's not quite as extreme as it is in the songs?
Yeah, I had a pretty good relationship with both of my parents, actually. That to me, it just makes for good subject matter, and in the kind of songs that I write, and there's good tension there. It's easy, relatable stories to tell. I feel like people can kind of plug their life into. So, but yeah, so as far as that goes, I mean, my relationship with my folks was great, but there is things that that I try to keep a close eye on. Like there's been some folks that struggled with addictions and things, and in my family, and just I do try to keep a watchful eye, on that, and make sure that I don't end up down the wrong road, as far as it's especially in this line of work, where indulgence in things is pretty common, so I do keep a close eye on that, and just try to stay the course, So that's one thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. One of my parents struggled with addiction, and as a result, I literally just don't drink.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that, maybe some of that stuff might be hereditary. I don't know for sure if it is or not, but hey, I do keep an eye on it just because I've seen what can happen, and yeah, so just try to keep a close eye on that anyway. But
what line of work are your parents in?
Well, my mom has passed away. She worked for the school system. Thank you. She retired from there, but my dad, he's retired as well, but he was a laborer, worked out of the laborer's hall here in West Kentucky. So yeah, just kind of the same line of work that I'm not a laborer, never been a laborer, but I have worked in the industry world, as far as like welding and pipe fitting and millwright stuff. It's kind of where I come from. But so yeah.
Oh, well. How do they feel about the whole music career?
Very supportive. Yeah, both have always been very supportive and just encouraging and yeah, just supportive and happy to see me doing what makes me happy and having some success with it. So yeah, they've always been on board with that. My whole family has, really, so that makes it easy. It'd be a challenge if my wife's always been very supportive, and she basically runs my company, so it would be a challenge if it wasn't that way.
Oh, I think it would be a challenge for them if you weren't as good as you are.
Well, that that could be. But I mean, even in the early years, my wife, she wrote it all out, the 10 years ago when when I was trying to, maybe wasn't doing the caliber of stuff I'm doing now, just trying to do what I could, what I felt like I needed to do to get to where I am now. And she wrote it out like a champ, so I hope she gets to reap some of the benefits here, hopefully. We'll see.
I'm so happy that your family is nothing like on the album.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit
good
about
storytelling.
Tell me a little bit about the historical context behind the song "Life's Blood."
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a story about eminent domain here. It's a piece of land that was taken from some folks here in West Kentucky, and there's a handful of different reasons as to why or the TVA took the land from the folks. Yeah, they had it was the Tennessee and the Cumberland River had ran through this area, and there was land between that. So they eventually dammed up both of those rivers and made lakes out of them, which, if you had to lose your land, at least it was for a valid reason, for flood control and power. And there was a lot of great things come with Kentucky Dam and Barkley Dam, and I understand that. And even if you had to lose your land to that, I'm sure that's for the betterment of the people. It probably still stinks if you're the one that lost it, but I could get that. So that happened, and those folks just kind of moved inland. A lot of those folks did, not all of them, but so they moved in between to a piece of land in between what would be the two lakes. And so a few years later, the TVA took the rest of it and kind of turned it into a national park of sorts. And several years later, there's no money. The TVA pulls out. I think the forestry department may have it now, and it's kind of like nobody really wants it. So I was just trying to tell a story from those folks' point of view, and a lot of those people feel very strongly about what happened, and they still do today. They haven't forgotten it. And a lot of those folks could probably tell the story better than me, but I just did a lot of research and homework and listened to some stories, of some folks around here, and just tried to tell it from that perspective. So while they took the land the second time, there's several speculations, I guess you could say, but I don't know. One reason that kind of stood out to me was there was the manufacturer of illegal liquor that took place there, and they wanted that stopped. So I've heard that's a reason that the land was taken, and some will say it is, some will say it was for other reasons. But irregardless, I just tried to give those folks a voice, and turned out to be pretty neat song, pretty neat story.
How do you get in the head of characters who, in so many of your songs, are willing to do these really extreme things? I think this one probably, as dramatic as it gets, take on the entire U.S. government.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. I spent a lot of time thinking, and just writing stories and different points of views, and just try to walk in those shoes. I think that's the job. But that's the job as a songwriter, is to try to take on the role of those characters. And when you start a song, maybe like kind of who I want to be in this. Who am I trying to be in this story I'm trying to tell? And just I read a lot of books, and spend a lot of time just studying stories and characters, hopefully some of that shows in my work.
All right, let's hear Life's Blood, and we will be right back.